I'm out here not to go nowhere. I'm not in a rush, but to test out the work I've done on this bike specifically. All right, second gear. I fixed my mirrors a little bit. I kind of got used to having a gear indicator. So what did I do to this bike? Besides the pretty purple fairings. It's funny because everybody sees the fairings. Nobody sees the work I actually put in. So what did I do to this bike? I took out and rebuilt the fuel pump. That includes the pump itself. I cleaned a lot of the rust that was on the housing itself. The filter on it, all that's been replaced and rebuilt. I've never done that before, so it was a little intimidating, only because it was new. But it got done. You know, I watched stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of forums. It was just a matter of following the instructions, having the tools, having the replacement parts. So if you think you can't do it, just know I never did it before. And I did it. They got my wife and son and daughter. What else did I do to this bike? I'm going to now fix the fuel gauge reader, because look, it says 0. There's a little metal piece on the fuel gauge reader that slides up and down to tell you how much gas is in there. And it stopped making contact with the little board it's on. So as you can probably imagine, it's not reading the gas properly. Now I put 1.5 gallons in here, so I know I'm at least good to test ride it. What else did I do? I took off the old chain and put a nice new gold one on. Chain replacement, I've done it before, so it wasn't like something I've never done, but it's just been a while, so you know, I had to brush up my knowledge on YouTube. I had to chain tool the breaker and the rivet to make the rivet for the master link. Boom, new chain. What else did I do to this bike? Obviously, nice new oil change. Nice new oil filter. That was, in fact, that was the first thing I did, other than wipe off some of the dirt and the spiders that was on it. That was the first thing I did, oil change. After that, the radiator fluid. Now, to be honest, I didn't like flush it on a machine or nothing like that. I dumped the radiator and the main holes leading to it. I spilled it out, and I put new fluid on top of it. And then I got the air out. Oh, let's see what else. I changed the brakes. Now, besides getting rid of all the spiders living in there, this bike became a paradise or haven for spiders and whoever else was in there. What else did I do to this bike? I got me a nice exhaust for this bike. I never brought an exhaust for a bike in my life. I know everybody does it, but I just never felt the need. I guess that's what it was. I don't really know. I just never did it. That's just the cold truth. But yeah, the fact that this bike has some years on it. This bike is officially 2011. What does that make it? 14 years old? I had this bike for 14 years. Because when I got it, it was new. So this is 2011. This is me riding in August 25. So I literally had this bike for 14 years. And when I got the Cruiser, I just couldn't let it go. So that's how she got like that in the backyard. She was just sitting back there. Because I felt, if you ever switch to a big bike, you know what I'm talking about. The Cruiser, this bike is like 400 pounds, 430s. The Cruiser is like 800 pounds, 1700 cc, 800 pounds. If you ever go from this bike to that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a whole different ride. Like, you can do it, but it's definitely a learning curve. You can take the skills you got from a small bike. I think this is like a medium-sized bike, to be honest. But you could take the skills that you learned just riding. I waited till I had at least 10 years of driving experience, because you can take that experience and bring it to the bike. And to be honest with you, you have a better chance of being safe. You already got 10 years experience of how crazy some people can drive, abrupt situations happening on the road, and stuff like that. Defensive driving. I got on the Cruiser, and I said to myself, I'm never gonna learn this Cruiser bike. If I keep rotating between this bike and the big bike, I'm never gonna learn it. Because I was scared to make slow maneuvers. I was scared to like make a U-turn. Not scared, but it was just intimidating. I don't want to drop the bike. I don't want to look stupid. Switching from a 650 to a 1700, 800 pound bike. So I put this bike in the backyard, and just 4.5 years or so went by, and the bike just became what it became. Unfortunately, I had a cover over it, but those covers don't do nothing. If anything, it's good for like dust and like a temporary situation. But it also traps moisture underneath the bike. Insects and bugs and whatever, they get mighty comfortable in that kind of environment. A motorcycle just sitting there in the backyard, not being used. I forgot where I heard it from. Cars and bikes are made to be ridden, so when they sit, they go to waste and they fall apart. Yeah, so what else did I do to this bike? The engine air filter. The engine air filter. First of all, before I tell you that, all right, so I'm missing a part of the story. I got me some cheap fairings off of, I think, eBay, before the bike went into the backyard. And I was just gonna convert it to be white and black, because I like white and black things. My computer is white and black. My new Cruiser is white and black. I call her Ebony Ivory. I just do. Either black and white or white and black. Yes, there's a difference. Anyway, now if you know anything about fairings, if you've done it before, you know that if you don't know what you're doing, it's like playing Tetris, but with parts on the bike. Some bolts, some screws fit more than one place. You can make one mistake. You can put one piece on, and then you got to take it back off to put another piece on. And then like the headlights are like integrated into the fairing, as it should. But if you put it back together, don't know what you're doing. Let's just say I needed the time and patience to go out there and do it. And I didn't really have that, considering my wife and I just had a baby. He's getting a little older now, so I have a little bit more, should we say, daddy time. And I really went out there to try to do this right. And I seen why I never got it done before. I didn't even realize the situation I had put myself in when I originally took the black fairings off. It takes time in case you're thinking about doing it. Maybe some bikes are easier than others, but in my situation, I've never done it before. The project never got finished, and lo and behold, the bike went to the backyard. At the same time, I was thinking, let me just get rid of my Cruiser. So I had all the more reason to say, I'll get to this later. That later came 5 years now. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, yes, I did a wave. I did the engine air filter. That led me to realize I never removed a gas tank. So how hard could it be? I tried to remove the gas tank, failed. And I was about to stop right there and say, this bike only got 8,000 miles, the engine air tank will be fine. But something in my gut, always trust your gut, told me, don't give up. Put the tools away, come back, try again tomorrow. And I did. And lo and behold, I got the tank off and changed the filter. Now let me tell you, thank God. I trusted my gut, and thank God for being there, as always, when I need them. That air filter was done. That engine air filter was so bad, I wouldn't have been surprised if just by riding it like that, I broke the bike. That's how bad it was. When I took it off and looked at it, I just said, thank God that I did that. Because it was like looking at an engine air filter from your worst nightmare. I had the nerve to show a picture of it to my boy who fixes cars and bikes, and he said, I've seen worse. I don't know how much worse it could get, other than just being broken and not working at all. So, you know, when you do stuff like that, you learn how to remove the gas tank. That led me to realize that the air box I never moved before. That led to another, pack up your tools and come back, try again tomorrow. That led to another, oh, I can't remove the air box, I've never done it before. So don't give up, try again. Boom, remove the air box. To some people, it's no big deal. I guess it's not, if you like do this stuff every day. I'm more of a DIY, I learned it on YouTube person. I have a lot of tools to get a job like this done because I tend to fix my own cars. I had 99% of everything I needed to fix this bike. So that led to me, once again, removing the air box. Oh yeah, battery. The battery, I fixed the battery in this bike. The battery inside the bike was cooked. You can't have a battery sitting out in the cold and it's not charged. It will kill the cells permanently. Pretty much that's what happened to this bike's batteries. Brand new batteries in here right now. So that led to me rewiring some of the stuff I did or thought I did right when I was younger. Nothing too major, but I got the charger for the phone right here. The pigtail. You can even plug it into the what's it called? The battery maintainer. What else did that lead to? Since I was messing with wires, let me install the eliminator kit for the license plate. Fender eliminator kit for the rear. Now everybody and their mother does it. I just never felt the need. I don't know why. But over time, it grew on me to get rid of it. Seeing it in the backyard and me fixing it, that fender started to look really ugly. I guess that's why they call it Fender Eliminator, because it's gone. Now that required me installing the turn signals, which was pretty easy. All I had to do was bond the wires that came with it to the wires that were on the old turn signals. As you may know, there's a light over the license plate. That is like a legal requirement. I don't really know all the laws, so I just know that it's there for a reason, and it's supposed to be on. So I was talking to a friend of mine. He said one of the wires probably need to be grounded. Now for all you electrical majors out there, or mechanics, you probably already knew this. I simply had to take another black wire. I made it make contact with the black wire going to the license plate light. I put another one underneath a screw. That's underneath the tail section of the bike. It's like a screw. I just put it in between it. Where the black paint is touching and non-painted metal was touching each other. So it could have contact with both. And I turned the key and the light turned on. Like nothing. Like I kind of felt good about it, and it's stupid that I didn't know that at the same time. You learn something every day. It's like when you think you know, sometimes just take a deep breath and try it again later. But it's worth it. I think it looks cool. Again, I never did it. Just like the exhaust, never did it. What else did I do to this bike? Now, I was looking at the brake fluid. Like, yeah, I'm doing everything else, just change the brake fluid. I wasn't convinced that I needed to change the brake fluid. Now, it's a little scary thought after what I just learned about how the engine filter looked. What else did I do to this bike? Replacement spark plugs. This bike only has 2, so it wasn't like some huge job. What else did I do? I changed the spark plug coils. I changed those to brand new ones because it just seems to me like when rubber sits out, it starts to break and crack. They weren't expensive. I was changing the spark plugs anyway. I've seen stories about how they have cracks in them and cause bad performance on other bikes. So I changed the coils and the spark plugs at the same time. I cleaned out the airbox. There was all sorts of leaves in there, but thankfully it wasn't on the wrong side. It was on the side that the filter's supposed to stop. It was enough leaves for me to say, good thing I didn't leave that there. So I cleaned all that up. What else did I do to this bike? Frame sliders. I never had frame sliders. I gotta put the other one on. This is just something I never did and wanted to do. To me, the frame slider story would sound just like the Fender Eliminator kit story. I never did because I never felt like I needed it. Seems like people, it's the first thing they do when they get a bike. And I understand why. The last thing you want is to drop it and mess with the plastics. I just never did it. I was too busy being a dad. I don't even think that's an excuse because a lot of fathers out there who do both. I just never felt like I needed it. I don't know. I got it now because it's a nice little carbon fiber joint. I thought it looked cool. What else did I do to this bike? I replaced the handlebar grips. It's right there. And in fact, this is actually one of the toughest jobs I ever had to do on a car or motorcycle. Let me try to explain. This is rubber. This is metal. Now, rubber can stretch and bend. Metal does not. It's not the metal that... if you stretch it, it's going to crack and break it. I'll put it that way. The only way I got this rubber piece on is taking the metal off. And I said maybe... because this bike is, like I said, 14 years old. I said maybe I got the wrong size, blah, blah, blah. And I left it there. I gave up. So this grip was sitting here without the metal, just looking like newer, but it was just not the image I had like this when I brought it online. When I did that, I left it alone until almost I was done with the whole bike. Because when I was done with the whole bike, it started looking cleaner and prettier, and other people got involved. Like my wife came down and take a picture with it. My mother-in-law sat on the bike and take a picture. My daughter came down to help it. So this goes into what I'm saying. My daughter came down. I guess she was less intimidated by the bike. You know, less spiders, less dirt. Let's get me out of here. Gross feeling. It's now a slick, cool looking bike. So she's down there spending time with me. And this one wasn't done. This one was done half-assed. So she said, can I try? And if you're a dad, of course you want your daughter to try. In fact, you should encourage her. And you should actually enjoy your daughter coming with you, your son or daughter, and learning and doing stuff with you. It's actually pretty cool when things go well. But at the time, I was feeling hot, and I was like, I'm never gonna get this done. I was like, go ahead, you can try. Man, she's watching and listening to the same instructions I was, but she's like, no, let me do it. So I said, you know what, go ahead. And I started doing something else, something in close proximity with her, because I had to do multiple things on the bike. Now, I did help her pull the old rubber off. I helped her take that off. But once it got off, she started seeing, oh, shoot, it works. Yo, I kid you not. We did everything right. She cleaned up all the glue thoroughly. She's like, no, I'm not done yet. I'm like, you want to try it? She's like, no, I'm not done yet. So we then did the alcohol trick. We split the rubber off. I said, we're going to try it with the metal. Because remember, the one I did didn't have the metal on it. That's the only way I got it on there. I said, we're going to try it with the metal. We're going to do this. So I kid you not. Me and her working together, we got that joint right on. It's right there, if you think I'm lying. And I said, yo, it fit. Now, ours was looking all pristine and nice. Meanwhile, the one I did was looking over there half-assed. It's fixed now, in case you're wondering. Look. We fixed it together, though. It was just crazy, because I was like, I guess, sometimes trust your gut, and God does things for a reason, because she was so proud, and I was so proud of her. I told her the story, how I couldn't get the other one on. And she's like, now I want to do more. I'm so happy we got that on there. And I was just like, I'm so proud too. You know, I felt the same happiness for her that she felt. And I was just thinking how I felt when I first started to do stuff myself. And to be fair, the way I got into tools and fixing stuff is because on this very bike, this metal wire right here fell off. This mirror right here, somebody backed into my bike when it was parked, and the mirror broke off, and they didn't even know. But at least they picked it back up. I wanted to put it back on, but I couldn't. I was doing something wrong. Guess what? I was using SAE tools on a metric socket. I needed a metric bolt socket wrench size, and I had SAE. Once I fixed it, I felt the way she did, and I explained that story to her. And she was like, yeah, now I want to do more. What else did I do to this bike? Tires. So if you ever seen a car or bike sit long enough, the tires would turn white. Not only that, I had changed the front tire on this bike before, but never the rear. And to be fair, the grooves on the rear still look good. I know tires only have like a 5-year lifespan, realistically. Those tires are well 10 years old. I think both of them, but definitely the back tire. And not only that, but they have flat spots you store your bike, you're supposed to leave it on some type of front and rear tire lift, so it's not just sitting in one spot on the rubber. They have flat spots on both of them, like cracks. Like you could look at the tire and see it was flatter in the area. That's how bad it was. Ordered me some nice new tires, and yes, I did it myself with the hand tools, the spoons. We popped the beads, all that fun stuff. I didn't go to no shop. What else did I do? Speaking of tires, I balanced the tires myself. Yes, I had the tire balancing set already there. It was just a matter of doing it. I had the weights, put the new tires on the rims. It was just a matter of doing it. So I got the Motion Pro weights on there. What else did I do to this bike? For what it's worth, I did the master chain link by myself. No, I did not use a clip-on chain. I used the rivet. Oh, I can tell you what I didn't do, but I have them in my toolbox. I ordered them. Fuel injectors. I was gonna put 2 new fuel injectors. Why I didn't do it? I didn't do it because when I finally started the bike and got it to the engine to turn. What? Check this out. It just sounded fine to me. Now I was gonna do it because something I did to this bike that I didn't mention yet. I cleaned the rust out of this gas tank. This gas tank was so rusty, you would have looked at me and wanted to slap me till next week if I had put the bike on the road with that dirty tank. It was just that dirty. If you had seen it and I was out riding, you'd have been like, bro, I did a good job putting in the, you know, there's a trick you could do with the vinegar and the water, and you leave it overnight. I did that twice. Got a lot of rust out. The rust was so thick, I can't even describe it to you how soup. It looked like metal soup when I dumped it out. I looked in there, there's still some rust spots, but I heard that would go away with time and just using normal gas. What else did I do? I took out the fuel pump, and I was gonna order me a new one, but they went like $700. $700 for a part I already have. This whole project was a bunch of doing one thing and it leading to other things. I was just trying to get the rust out the gas tank. I seen that fuel pump and I said, it reminded me of when I seen the engine air filter. I was like, oh no, this has to be cleaned out right now. I'm gonna put like a gallon inside this bike, just because I can't read the thing, and I don't want to get caught up out there. Oh yeah, I replaced the fuel tank top. The other one was rust welded shut. You don't want to know what I would do to get it open, but there's a nice new one here now. Change it. The only catch is I now have a separate key, but I don't really care about that. That doesn't bother me at all. What else did I do to this bike? I'm currently in the process of ordering a new fuel gauge reader, because see how I just put gas in the bike? It still says E. Yeah, so I cleaned the gas tank, I rebuilt the fuel pump, instead of like sleeping in when I'm off, or like a day where we don't have plans yet. If we don't have family plans, mind you, we had a full summer. I've taken them to the beach multiple times. We went camping, we went fishing multiple times, like 3 or 4 times I went fishing. I'm talking about wife, kids, I took my friends, everything. I did all that, and I love how this looks red at night. Always did like that. We took a vacation. I did all the driving all the way down to Miami. What else we do? We got a cruise coming up still. So I was handling the daddy stuff, as well as taking these little moments where nobody had plans, or the kids were at school, or mommy had work, or mommy wanted to go out with a friend. I'll say, let me go work on the bike just a little. Just a little. And it's not like I got like a big fancy garage or a shop. Nope, it would just be in the backyard and seeing what I could get done. So this was truly a DIY project, because I went from, let me change the oil, I know it's gonna need a new chain, to, oh, I guess I should change the engine air filter, to everything I'm talking about, and then some. I can't even remember everything. I was gonna change the rear tire spools, but I didn't, because the ones I ordered were so cheap. They felt so cheap. As soon as I felt them, I said, like, they were cool. They had the Ninja decorations on it. But I was like, do I really want to put this on here and take the nice ones I had on? I had the nice ones on there from a company called, I think, like Shogun or something like that. This is the first time this bike is on the highway in like 4 or 5 years. Let's take her for a ride. She feels nice. Like I said, sometimes when you do something yourself, it just rides better. She's been paid off a long time ago. These are my tires, my brakes, my oil change, my grips on the handlebars. Oh yeah, so I guess in short, I put on the smoked out windscreen. I put on these purple fairings. I guess that's obvious already. I'm trying to think what else. It was just little things like that, one at a time. And this whole project became a dedication to my pops, who I lost 1 year ago today. Let's take this bike and go for a ride. Just real quick, I gotta go back home. Alright, that's the end of this video. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm like less than 5 minutes from home. It was good riding. Peace.